Sutra 1.7 Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani. Pratyaksha means direct perception. Anumana means inference. Agama means traditional sacred texts or scriptural references, a person who is a scriptural authority and whose word can be relied on. Pramanani means kinds of proof. Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani. Correct knowledge is direct, inferred or proven as factual. Correct knowledge is based on three kinds of proof: direct perception, correct inference or deduction, and testimony from authoritative sacred scriptures or experienced person. Initially, individual perception should be checked by reasoned logic, and then seen to correspond to traditional or scriptural wisdom. This process involves the enlightened intelligence or buddhi. In modern intellectual terms, we take buddhi to be a monolithic entity. This is unhelpful when trying to understand its true role in our lives and in our yogic practice. Let us first separate it from mind, in which brain, whose function is to receive sensory information, to think, and to act, has its source. Thinking expresses itself in the form of electromagnetic waves. Intellect is more subtle than mind. It is concerned with the knowledge of facts and the reasoning faculty, and becomes discernible only through its inherent quality, intelligence, which is closer to consciousness than to the mind or thought process. Intelligence is inherent in every aspect of our being, from the physical to the blissful. It is non-manifest only in the Atman Purusha, the core of being. The quality of intelligence is inherent but dormant. So our first step must be to awaken it. The practice of asana brings intelligence to the surface of the cellular body through stretching, and to the physiological body by maintaining the pose. Once awakened, intelligence can reveal its dynamic aspect, its ability to discriminate. Then we strive for equal extensions to achieve a balanced, stable pose, measuring upper arm stretch against lower right leg against left, inner against outer, etc. This precise, thorough process of measuring and discriminating is the apprenticeship or culturing of intelligence. It is pursued in the internal sheaths by pranayama, pratyahara, and the further stages of yoga. We can thus see that discrimination is a weighing process belonging to the world of duality. When what is wrong is discarded, what is left must be correct. When discrimination has been cultivated and intelligence is full and bright, ego and mind retreat, and chitta becomes sharp and clear. But spiritual intelligence, which is true wisdom, dawns only when discrimination ends. Wisdom does not function in duality. It perceives only oneness. It does not discard the wrong. It sees only the right. Patanjali calls this exalted intelligence, or vivekajnanam. Wisdom is not mingled with nature, and is indeed unsuitable for the problems of life in a dualistic world. It would be of no use to a politician, for example, however high his motives, for he must choose and decide in the relative and temporal world. Spiritual wisdom does not decide. It knows. It is beyond time. However, the progressive refinement of intelligence is essential in the search for freedom. The discriminating intellect should be used to diffuse the negative impact of memory, which links us in physiological time to the world of sensory pleasure and pain. All matter, from rocks to human cells, contains its own inherent intelligence, but only man has the capacity to awaken, culture, and finally transcend intelligence. Just as the totally pure Chitta, free from sensory entanglements, gravitates toward the Atman, so once intelligence has achieved the highest knowledge of nature, it is drawn inwards toward the soul. Buddhi has the capacity to perceive itself. Its innate virtue is honesty. Sutra 1.8 Viparyayo mithyanyanam attadrupa pratishtam. Viparyayo means perverse or unreal. Mithyanyanam means illusory knowledge. Attadrupa is not in its own form. Pratishtam means occupying, standing, seeing, beholding. Viparyayo mithyananam attadrupa pratishtam. Illusory or erroneous knowledge is based on non-fact or the non-real. Perverse, illusory, or wrong knowledge is caused by error or misconception, or by mistaking one thing for another. It is based on the distortion of reality. Wrong understanding and false conceptions generate wrong feelings and taint the consciousness. This hinders the sadhaka in his efforts to experience the seer, and may create a dual or split personality. Sutra 1.9 Sabdanyana anupati vastu sunya vikalpaha. Sabdanyana means verbal knowledge. Anupati means followed in sequence, pursued, phased in regular succession. Vastu sunya means devoid of things, devoid of substance or meaning. Vikalpaha means imagination or fancy. Sabdanyana anupati vastu sunya vikalpaha. Verbal knowledge devoid of substance is fancy or imagination. Playing with fanciful thoughts or words, and living in one's own world of thoughts and impressions which have no substantial basis, is vikalpa, a vague and uncertain knowledge which does not correspond to reality. In such a state of delusion, one is like the hare in the fable who imagined it had horns. If vikalpa is brought to the level of factual knowledge by analysis, trial, error, and discrimination, it can awaken a thirst for correct or true knowledge, and delusion can be transformed into vision and discovery. Unless and until such a transformation takes place, knowledge based on imagination remains without substance.